But anywho, so now we're basically moving on to the halfway point in terms of Grand Canal, and once again we have ourselves another Belzer time event. And let's see what specific event is it going to be this time. Oh right, it's another one of those events that he will try to able to screw you up, and that means he'll crush one of these item shops, or the orb shops for that matter, and turning into the store of himself, in this case the Belzer shop. So yeah, you don't have any options to able to select yes or no, unlike the actual regular you know, orb shop and stuff like that. So yeah, let's go ahead and use the Flutter Orb from now on, because after all, since that we've actually lost our star due to the forms of, like, you know, in the thumbstickle course that we've already played, that for whatever reason my jump button does not seem to respawn with me most of the time. So I guess that makes it totally obvious for how the fact that, well, sometimes my timing on jumps wasn't exactly perfect by any means, of any stretch of your imagination, but at least I got my star back, technically, despite the fact that this is a new star I've brought, so... Alright, the next star space is going to be right near to the forms of the blooper... I would say blooper shuffle event, if I was assuming that correctly, so... I would like to able to land on a dual space, but... here's the thing though, is the fact that I would able to actually decide able to buy something on a shop, because obviously I've already mentioned this earlier, since how the fact that the shopping stars now come into play, so this means I must able to actually spend a whole bunch of coins as much as I can. Oh, don't tell me this is gonna be... Okay, so this is Hammer Bro Orb, so that's fine by me, because I'll take Hammer Bro Orb any day, unlike the Piranha Plant orb, because obviously that you lose half of your coins and you have to give it to someone, whoever uses that particular orb, you know, just like in Mario Party 6, so... That's fine, I'll lose 10 coins, but then I somehow spend 30 coins on the, you know, the Flutter Orb again, so I can at least expect, you know, I can able to catch up within, well, first place in particular, but you probably get the idea about that. So, Bodo gets an 8 and a 2, so that makes 10 altogether, so... And she's probably gonna go up there, and she lands on the red space, so... And somehow that Bodo hasn't got anything at the moment, so that's kind of sucks for her. And it looks like Peach is gonna use her Flower Orb, and in this case, you're able to get... I would say 15 coins total, as you can tell that she got a 5. And then depending on how many number of the dice roll you're able to roll, like for example, if she gets a 10, then you're probably gonna get like 30 coins total. Like every time whenever you go into the actual next set of few spaces up ahead, then you get 3 coins additionally. So yeah, that's something worth noting for anyway. So and this is what happens if you somehow stumble across the Belzer shop and you be forced to able to go in that event. And basically, Belzer will tell us the fact that if depending on what items they give you, like either the golden statue as you can see, or even in some cases the mini Belzer orb, that there's no way of using these. And because of that though, you'll be forced to able to lose a lot of coins, well, for the majority of the time will be 20 coins. So that means is the fact that, well, any golden statue item is the fact that you can't use it at all, because if you exit out the shop, then Mini Belzer will steal it from you, and then he runs off with it. And then if it's a Mini Belzer orb, you're able to toss the next, well, Mini Belzer, orb someplace else on certain space. So, yeah, that's as far as I can usually get the gist of it for the how, you know, the, that Mini Belzer orb does, even though you can't use it by yourself, because there are a few times, though, that if you stumble across the forms of the returning feature from Mario Party 6, which is, of course, by the forms of every time you bypass the actual, like, or in some cases, if you go through that particular orb space or anything else to be more specific, that sometimes he can either give you some good items, or in some cases bad items, which actually contains Mini Belzer orbs, or Koopa Kid orbs. And because of that though, if you stumble across the Mini Belzer orb, think of like the Belzer capsule from Mario Party 5, that basically you can't use it by yourself, but rather, like, you remember in Mario Party 5, that if you get the Belzer capsule, and then Belzer will decide to able to place the Belzer capsule in some different red spaces in particular. Not so much blue spaces, because obviously blue spaces are good, and then the red space, on the other hand, though, is more bad. So he just managed to place it in any other red spaces in particular. Whilst in here, though, if you stumbled across the mini Belzer orb, or Koopa Kid orb, if you did, for those of you who lived in North America, that, basically, if you stumble across that item, then you're able to actually, well, the mini Belzer will decide to toss the, one of his mini Belzer orbs in any spaces. The only exception being is the forms of, the happening spaces, the mic space, and especially noticeable with the dual spaces. So it's usually, it's like, any red spaces or blue spaces for that matter, so it really doesn't matter anyway, just because obviously it's predetermined by random involvement or anything else like that, but still. Alright, so let's see what the next storage space is going to be at, and it's right next to the orb shop, so God knows if someone were able to make it there, so but we'll see what happens there. And of course, I'm going to be doing another mic event, so hopefully I should probably double up my coins, so... Because yeah, kind of thing about it though is the fact that, as you probably already know, is the fact that Toadsworth is actually the host in this game this time around, and because of that though, that is a nice little way to be able to actually have a different host, even then though, for any other Mario Party games throughout the years. Although, mind you, in the forms of the N64 era, that the only host that the, well, specifically in Mario Party 1 and Mario Party 2, that Toad has always been the host in those games. Actually, I'll get to more now in a second, because, yes. Because I'm going to be doing the actual, oh goodness gracious, we're doing 5 cards. Oh jeez, this is going to be quite tough. Cherry. Alright, looks like I got that one right. Banana. Apple. Nor do I say things like that. Strawberry. And last of all, grape. And there we go. But again, if I somehow mess this up, then all of my coins will be gone for good, so that won't be that fun. Especially noticeable if you're not good at memorization at all, then you're probably gonna kiss your coins goodbye. So, yeah, it's kind of like new forms of how it does it on Game Guide spaces from Mario Party 3, except the fact that, well, you do have an option to be able to actually select yes or no, or in some cases, if you're trying to turn off the mic, or in some cases, you can either turn on the mic, if depending on what specific stimulations you'll go through. So, anyway. And I suppose another thing I should probably explain about this as well, that I think this might actually be the final time in a Mario Party game to able to feature the language selection before the Nintendo Wii exists, and the Wii does manage to able to offer us the actual language selection on the actual system, rather than on the actual games themselves. Well, some of them anyway, so that might be a result of how the fact that usually in every other, like, European versions of any other Mario Party games. Oh jeez, I just realized everyone else all gathered around in these red spaces. The only exception is me. So yeah, that seems kind of odd. So, oh well, whatever. Alright, coin changes. So, I'm guessing what the particular minigame is named anyway. So, hit the dice block to earn the same number of coins as the number rolled. So, yeah, this is kind of a waste of opportunity with this minigame, because all you have to do is pretty much simple as you can get. Like, basically, think of like hitting a dice block, except you're able to actually just, hopefully, God forbid, trying to aim as many coins as you can. So, yeah, I guess that makes it totally obvious for how the fact that, well, relatively speaking, it's like a waste of time. Although, it's not bad, but it's just that it's purely simple. Like, you just have to mash the A button and hope for the best. And that's all you really have to do in this minigame. So, yeah, I'm not overly too crazy with this one either, so... Oh well, no big deal, but at least we did manage to show this off anyway, and plus I got 12 coins, that leads us to 210 coins. That's quite a lot of cash I managed to get at the moment, so... Yeah, that seems all top notch, all things considered, so... I keep on getting low numbers every single moment's notice. Okay, whatever. But still that the running start comes into play though, so we must able to actually get the high rolls as much as we can. So yeah, that might be something worth noting for. Oh yeah, something is worth mentioning though is the fact that usually that I suppose that Jewel hasn't mentioned about this either. That back in the forms of a Mario Party 6, that you know with the forms of a team battle system, where you're able to actually have 2 players in one team and during the actual board, it turns out that in the forms of in the Mario Party 6, that you're still able to retain the forms of unique names for their specific teams, much like in Mario Party 5. However though, they did manage to offer us specifically a different space trap depending on what specific team you're in. Like for instance, I believe if you're in a Team Sun, then basically that's if you're trying to place any other orbs in certain spaces, or in some cases a trap, then you're able to see that particular sun icon. But if you're in a moon team, then obviously you get yourselves a moon icon for your space, or in some cases a trap. So that's something that I believe Jewel hasn't mentioned about this either, so I guess that's sure it's something, I suppose. And then in the forms of this game, so the fact that, well, it's kind of different from the likes of the forms of the previous games when it comes to like team battle and stuff like that, or tag battle as far as I like to call it in this game. That is the fact that 2 players can able to run at the same time, rather than just individual turns in particular, so that something is a little bit different, and plus you're able to rely on 2 dice blocks during that particular turn, if depending on what team you're in. Speaking of the team icons though, the team icons, depending on what team you're in, they offers us some different icons into them. Like, I believe one of them is Team Dolphin, as well as the forms of the Team Seagull, along with the forms of, I'm presuming the other teams as well. So, Spinner Cell, one player controls 2 spinning machines and uses them to attack the other players. So, yeah, very similar to the forms of Mario Party 6, that we have to use not only the control stick, but also the C-stick as well. So, yeah, if you're familiar with that specific control method from Mario Party 6, then you're probably familiar with that particular stuff. So in this case, the C-stick control stick will allow them to able to stun them, and then the control stick is the most hazardous, so I guess that makes it totally obvious there. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention is the fact that the actual font color on certain minigames this time around, whenever you start the game minigame or finish the minigame, is actually now in orange as opposed to purple from the likes of Mario Party 6, and especially noticeable with pinkish colors from the likes of Mario Party 5, and especially noticeable with these kind of random rainbow colors in Mario Party 4, and even some orangey kind of colors from the likes of, with purple like outlines and stuff like that from the likes of Mario Party 1, 2, and 3, but of course, they obviously bring that color font back from the likes of how it does it on some Mario Party Superstars. Although in Super Mario Party that the actual font color was actually in white, so it's not that pleasant to see. Although it's fine, I suppose. But usually in every other ND Cube Mario Party titles ranging from Mario Party 9, along with Island Tour 10 and Star Rush for that matter, usually in every single like starts font, it's always green, but if it's finished, then it's always like baldy yellow and stuff like that. So it wasn't until the top 100 that the start is actually yellow, and then finish was actually by the forms of pink. So although until in Mario Party 8 roll around, that start is actually blue, and then the finish is like somewhat red or orangey kind of vibe, which is kind of hard to say honestly. Although, I just realized something, is the fact that I remember fondly back in junior forms of, well, let's just say back in the day, in about likely or so in 2006 or something, for I've seen the actual like, the footage of this game, specifically the E3 2005 trailer for Mario Party 7, they did manage to reuse some aspects from the likes of Mario Party 6, ranging from the likes of the actual Go and Finish fonts that heavily bulged out in Mario Party 6, so it's likely the purple the same color, and obviously they changed that to the final version making this orange as opposed to purple to make things not so much confusion or something. So, and similarly, it's the fact that the minigame instructions is actually kind of feels a bit similar to Mario Party 6, if those of you ever seen E3 2005 trailer, yeah, it does feel remarkably similar to 6 minigame instructions, except, well, obviously it's likely brief seconds, so I can't really tell of what the actual footage speaks for itself, honestly, just because it's likely a split second, so... And also with the actual face icons is actually like facing towards you, because the difference is now with the UI and stuff like that in the final release of Mario Party 7, Sony's characters are now facing either slightly to the left or slightly to the right, depending on what specific side you're in. So yeah, I guess that makes it a little bit different when it comes to the portraits and stuff. Although, until in Mario Party 8, they do have their pretty, not gonna lie, a pretty cool portrait on certain character profiles and stuff. Although in Mario Party 9 and onwards, they're always facing straight towards you. Although in Star Rush and the Top 100, they obviously have some pretty cool, not gonna lie, a pretty cool 2D artwork on certain portraits on certain characters and stuff like that. And then in Super Mario Party and Mario Party Superstars, they do have their pretty cool poses for certain characters on their profile, so I guess that shows something. Alright, Herpical Mimic. I think that's what the minigame is called anyway. So, fire at the piranha plants when they emerge from the pipe. The first team to 3 points is the winner. So basically we need to fire these particular projectiles right at these particular piranha plants, and that's all you really have to do in this minigame, so... But best out of 3 though, so we'll have to be fast on this part, because obviously that if we're too slow, then we're not gonna win at all. And you have to be very careful of those spiky bomb stuff, because obviously you will get stunned for about 2 seconds, so keep this in mind. And that should do it. Pretty easy when you get the hang of it, but still. So, oh, and also another thing as well is the fact that I really love the actual, the background you might as well see on the actual minigame instructions menu, along with the results screen, that it does manage to take place in the ocean sea. Because get it? Because we actually get it onto the tropical, vibe to it. Once again a Hammer Bro orb, but that's okay. Nothing related to the piranha plant one, thankfully. So once again we'll lose 10 coins after, well, winning the actual minigame, and then somehow Bodo gets 10 coins. So I guess that's fine by me. So oh well, we'll take it, I suppose. And it looks like Bodo's gonna land on, I would say a blue space. Yeah, it's definitely a blue space for sure. Speaking of those spaces though, they obviously got a different shape now. Ranging from the likes of, well, remember the forms of in Mario Party 1, 2, and especially noticeable with 4 and 5. Most of these spaces are actually circle shaped. And then in Mario Party 3 and also Mario Party 6 as well, that they obviously managed able to have a octagon shaped spaces. But now in the forms of Mario Party 7, it's almost like something like a square. So yeah, I guess that was a little bit odd to able to actually have the shapes like that. And especially noticeable with, oh goodness gracious, we have another mic minigame. So let's see how we're going to be playing this time. Dart Attack. This minigame does make a return in Mario Party the Top 100. So, say fire to blow a dart at the moving targets, you can launch up to 5 darts. So basically you have to hold the button down and say fire, fire, fire every time. And I'm pretty sure this minigame does not make a comeback in Superstars due to the fact that the Switch is lacking with microphone, which makes sense. Although in the 3DS counterpart, the Top 100 does hit, so... Alright, let's begin. Yes. Fire! 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 That seems like a good score. Well, except for the first dart, but that's okay. That's totally fine by me. So, yeah, if you're trying to hit the 0, then you don't get anything at all, but then if you're trying to get... Oh god, I think the 50 target will be, kind of difficult able to get that 50 points target. I mean, surely because the 50 targets points is actually a lot faster than attempted, so... I guess that makes it totally obvious. Also, I just realized is the fact that the amount of playable characters we are using for this board in general, that it appears to be like the exact same selection as we've done this on Mario Party 9 on Step It Up mode. So, yeah, that seems kind of convenient, except the noticeable difference being is that I'm not playing as Waluigi, if you couldn't tell, I'm playing as Toad, of course. Like in any other first boards in several other Mario Party games, with the only exception being, you know, Mario Party 1, 2, and 3, and 4, along with the forms of the Top 100 and Super, and eventually until in Superstars that we don't think we can able to play as Toad after all, so because he was the host in that game again. Alright, another Belzer time event, and well, we're on turn 16 of course, and it looks like we have a different event right here, which he managed to summon the photo stand, which actually contains 4 cut holes right here. And somehow we all get involved and manage to try to do something like a photo shot by the souvenir photo, and it looks like Belzer just ruins it, so typical Belzer. And unfortunately though, we have to force Abel to take away 10 coins after that photo, or in some cases 20, if it's depending if it's either a good image or in some cases a bad photo. So yeah, that might be something worth noting for. So some stuff happens, you know. Especially noticeable that Belzer will try to screw you up majorly this time around. So we're now on to 5 turns left. So wait a second, I just realized, can we at least something we can able to get event? Oh, wait a second, I just realized. We'll have to wait for it until after this turn is finished. Oh, jeez. I totally forgot that was the case, actually, because I'm more into, you know what I mean, with the other Mario Party games that, well, I'll talk more about that later. But of course I got blown away by that Twister Orb, but that's okay, because I will assumingly... I'm not exactly sure what the next star is though, but I'm gonna be able to fling myself with that particular bridge happening event, and that somehow take me all the way back there? Huh. Okay, how random is that? Anyway, Bodo gets a 9, and she's gonna land on the same space as I do. Oh yeah, something worth mentioning is the fact that unlike in Mario Party 5, and especially noticeable with Mario Party 2, and Mario Party 3, and Mario Party 6, the dual event does not trigger if someone lands on the same space as you do. Like in some cases, as you notice, that me and Bodo are on the same space as each other, but then the dual event does not trigger at all. So the only way you can play dual minigames this time is just basically you have to like land on the dual space, and that's pretty much about it, so... Alright, so it looks like Waluigi's gonna purchase the Pink Boot Orb. Yeah, the Pink Boo does make her technically return from the likes of Mario Party 6, except the fact that rather than becoming an option to either choose either stealing coins or stealing the star options, because... Oh god, another battle minigame. Okay, so let's see how many coins we go wager this time. And this time it's 20! Oh, good grief. Anyway, so let's see what minigame are we playing next. So, oh, those are the only 3 ones remaining. Oh, jeez. I was expecting if I was going to choose either these 2, but the majority of the players always choose deckhands. So, I guess we'll have to risk it and choose deckhands anyway. In this case, a luck-based minigame anyway. Pick a card, any card, the player who picks the 3 highest cards is the winner. And I believe this minigame does make a return in Mario Party the Top 100, which I have no idea why they choose that minigame to begin with back in 2017, although luckily this minigame does not make a comeback in Superstars, because obviously that minigame is pretty luck-based, as you already know. So yeah, this is basically what this minigame, what this does is the fact that you're gonna have to pick 3 cards, and then hopefully, God forbid, if you get lucky or unlucky as well, Bodo just managed to got number 1 right there, and then yeah, you have to get the highest amount of points total as at the end wins. So yeah, that's basically how this minigame plays. It's just pretty random. Alright, so let's see what Peach is gonna get. She's probably gonna pull out that card contains 10. Ooh, and have to stay sharp on that one. Alright, have to take a massive guess here. 7 is okay. I mean, usually I kinda wish I need more points than that, but that's okay. And Bodo gets a 5, so it's not much. I'm guessing Bodo might able to actually be in 4th because she got a really bad unfortunate first turn just because of that one card that she only got. Alright, so it's my turn again, so I'll choose this card. Oh, nice! 12. That's more like it. That should able to boost me up for the amount of points I can able to reach up to. Oh, 6. Looks like she's almost gonna catch up. Alright, what about you, Bodo? Are you gonna caught up like the rest? Oh, what a poor performance. That was awful. I was so sorry for you, Bodo, after what you've been through, but still. So Waluigi gets an 8. And I don't think he's gonna call up to 2nd or 1st, so... Alright, please don't let it be. Oh my goodness. This is gonna be quite a tough round. Alright, it's between these two cards. Yay, I win! Woo! Eat that, Peach! Alrighty. I can't really tell what the last card is gonna be, but I'm guessing it's like 4 or something? Well, I wasn't paying attention to that just because, again, most of those cards are randomized each time whenever you're able to replay that minigame, so yeah, that's why I classify that entirely, so... Alright, turn number 17. Now this is where things get really weird. Remember how in any other Mario Party games you do have the final 5 turn events, through in the past anyway. Now you have it on the final 4 turns. How weird is that? I'm guessing it's mainly because they want to get the Belzer time event over and done with. And especially noticeable, what's even weird is that he tells us the actual reverse order, that if someone's in 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st this time around, as opposed to the ones in the previous games, they did tell us the fact that, wow, who is in 1st, who is in 2nd, who is in 3rd, and vice versa. And right there, much like the forms of how it does it on the previous games, you do ended up with these specific events. Like, we got ourselves the first last 4 turn event, which appears to be the returning feature from the likes of Mario Party, well, obviously ever since Mario Party 5 and Mario Party 6. So this means, once again, these blue and red spaces are tripled up. So in this case, that's if you land on a blue space, you get yourselves 9 coins, and if you land on a red space, you lose 9 coins. But then, if you manage to land on your own space, if you manage to set your orb space, or anything else to be more specific, then you get yourselves 15 coins. You know, much like the forms of how it does it on Mario Party 6. So, yeah, nothing's different from there. Although, apart from the fact that, well, relatively speaking, this is actually the final time this is gonna happen. Until specifically in Super Mario Party, along with the forms of Mario Party Superstars as well, they obviously bring that concept back with that particular multiplying coins between either blue spaces or red spaces. So, I guess that's good for our cases anyway though, because obviously with the... Oh my god, Peach gets a double numbers within double 9s. And of course, if you manage able to get these, the same exact numbers of those 2 rolls in particular with that mushroom, then you get those 10 additional coins if you manage to get the matching pair, so... But too bad for her, because obviously she will lose 10 coins after getting a matching number and decide to give it to Bodo, because obviously Bodo was actually in 4th at the moment, and I think she's probably going to be on 3rd at the moment, so... I guess that makes it obvious there. I don't know about you, but I'm actually really into the actual music, by the way, for Grand Canal. I don't know why. Something about the forms of the atmosphere or the forms of the music itself does look pretty catchy as well. So maybe it's just me. Oh, here's the first mini Belzer event in this game, and turns out that let's see what mini Belzer has to say for Waluigi or us, depending on what events they'll give us. So in some cases, we got ourselves the familiar item from the likes of, well, let's just say, ever since an accursed spell from the likes of Mario Party 2, and the cursed mushroom from the likes of Mario Party 3, and technically the mini mushroom in Mario Party 4, and the capsules between, well, I'll get to more now in a second, because here we go with Poke Primal. Seems like an interesting minigame. Send the Pokies flying by whacking them with your hammer. The first player to smash all of them wins. In this minigame, not only does this make a return in Mario Party the Top 100, but also recently, this minigame does make a return in Mario Party Superstars within gorgeous HD visuals. So, at least I'm very glad that minigame returns though. Twice. Alright, time to do button mashing here. Oh my god, my fingers are in pain already. Oh, jeez. Oh, wait. There's our first new record. New record. Hooray. Well, not by much though, just only for about 10 milliseconds. But that's pretty much the only differences between my previous record and my most recent record. So, I guess that makes it a little bit more obvious throughout. Oh, and also that since we've already gone past through the Final 4 turn event, and also that the Belzer time event won't trigger at all from the likes of the forms of the actual Final 4 turn event, and because of that, everything should be normal by now. So, apart from the fact that there might be still some screw-ups here and there, like for instance with the mini Belzer events can obviously screw you up on depending on what specific event they'll go for. Like, I do know there's one event that we've already seen, such as for instance that Waluigi got himself the Cursed Mushroom, and basically it functions the same way as the forms of how it does it on, well, let's just say new forms of the Cursed Mushroom from the likes of Mario Party 3, and as well as the Mini Mushroom from Mario Party 4, and the Cursed Mushroom Capsule in Mario Party 5, and especially noticeable with the Cursed Mushroom Orb, only in the forms of the solo mode in Mario Party 6, so the fact that you're still able to roll 1 through 5 with that particular dice block in mind. So, oh yeah, this is a fun event as you see on screen that we've managed to ride on a canal, and basically we need to jump to able to collect coins while riding on the canal. So yeah, that's actually another one of those happening events you're able to stumble across into. And basically, that in addition to able to get some more coins while you're riding on a canal, but also you're able to actually go on to either the right side of a board or the left side of a board, depending on what specific side you're in. So, but yeah, that's as far as I can try to describe about the forms of Grand Canal as the board itself. And it looks like Bodo, she might as well get her first star. So congratulations, Bodo, while you managed to able to get yourself some pretty good rolls with that particular dice block in mind. Although, I'm not exactly sure, but I'm guessing that Bodo might able to guarantee to get the no, not the Happening Star, the Running Star as far as I want to point things out. Alright, so the next star space is just right near where Waluigi was, so, well, it's a good thing I did manage to able to got myself the Flutter Orb from the likes of the forms of the Orb Shop, as a matter of fact, so I'm also able to use that at some point in the next turn, or if not, because obviously Waluigi's getting closer to the actual star itself, so, alright, so it looks like Peach gets an 8. And once again, she will lose coins from that Spinies there, so yeah, the Spinies act out very similar to the forms of Mario Party 6, so if you, every time you're able to get involved with that trap, then obviously you lose coins. Although, the Metal Mushroom Orb does make a return though, so yeah, it will function pretty much exactly the same as the forms of Mario Party 6, that you won't get any harmed by these trap events. Oh, so close for you, Waluigi, just only one space away from that star space. Oh jeez, I felt so sorry for you, pal. Alright, let's see. Another 4-player game, so it looks like we are playing Dragon Yard. It's an alright minigame. Well, you know. Jump over the hurdles on the conveyor belts. The last player standing is the winner. So basically we need to jump over the hurdles and then try to jump over those electrical ones. And I believe this minigame does make a return in Mario Party the Top 100, if I'm assuming that correctly. So yeah, you have to go and jump over those hurdles while you're trying to deal with the forms of, I don't know, it's like an isometric view or something? But then again though, it has been such a long while since I actually played this particular you know, minigame in the GameCube. So, because I'm so used to with the top 100 version, despite the fact that I haven't touched upon the top 100 version of that minigame for a very, very long time, because obviously the top 100 is filled to the brim with bare bones content, mind you. Because thankfully in Superstars, though, they at least got something like, you know, mini-games to play, along with the boards to able to revisit, and as well as some gem packs with content, or something like that. So in some cases, I'm gonna have to screw up Waluigi right here by able to actually just ride on Flutter to able to get another star, because I'm assuming that Peach might get closer to the forms of that star in particular, so I'm probably gonna have to stop her by able to actually getting the 3rd star. Although, yeah, that might be something worth classifying that, so... There we go, I'm now on to 3 stars, and I'm on to 244 coins, so... Yeah, the next star space is just over here, onto that specific roof, on that one of those houses anyway, so... Now, I'm presuming Peach might able to miss her chance by getting that star no matter what, so... Yeah, anyway, with the pink Boot Orb, that it functions kind of the same way as the forms of how it does it on the Chain Jump capsule for Mario Party 5, that I believe you're able to actually place it on the space somewhere, and then you can't use it by yourself, unfortunately, because unlike in Mario Party 6, that you meet up with Pink Boo in 2 boards, mainly in the forms of Towering Treetop, along with Castaway Bay, while you can able to actually have an option to either select steal coins to someone or steal a star from someone. Whilst in here this time around though, well, it does things slightly different, that if someone lands on that particular space, well, the Pink Boo trap space or something like that, and basically if you don't have any stars, then he'll lose, he will steal your coins and then give it to someone who actually owns that particular orb or something. But if someone gets the star on the other hand though, you're forced to able to get your star taken. So because of that, yeah, that might be something a little bit different, because there's no longer an option to either select either both of those. So anyway, alright, La Bummer. Kind of a simple minigame to able to experience with, so one player ground pounds to drop bombs while the other 3 flees. So yeah, just gonna have to run away, and also keep that in mind, you have to also be very careful of those spiky stuff as well, because that also will try to knock you out, so... That might be something worth a consideration right here, so I think we should probably get started right there. Now, I do apologize with that particular commentary cut right there, just because somehow Mighty accidentally rang me, because obviously that he was probably wondering what I was doing, because obviously I'm still recording Mario Party 7 as it goes by, so either way though, but I just will give him a call at some point after we're done with this, basically, so anyway, so... Oh goodness gracious, this can get pretty nerve-wracking at points, especially noticeable that, well, if you managed able to get caught by the well, imagine if Waluigi managed to able to get all these bombs from above, and if I somehow stand underneath it, then that might able to try to knock you out instantly, so... Yeah, that might be something worth noting for able to try to be cautious with that, so... Final turn in Grand Canal, and to end things off, we'll try to place the pink Boot Orb somewhere right next to that particular red space fountain right there, so... But unfortunately I didn't get any coins from that at all, so that's fine by me, so... And of course I got a 10 to end off, so... And that pretty much leads me to my space there, which actually gives me 15 coins. So yeah, as I said before, you know, similar to Mario Party 6, it is, well, pretty much richer than ever, so... And it looks like Bodo's gonna use her final Super Shroom Orb, so that way she'll get 7, along with the forms of 10, and of course she'll get the another number, which I can't really tell at this point, because unfortunately my footage keeps on lacking on me while I was doing commentary, which is a little bit of a bummer thing to do, especially noticeable considering how the fact that, well, generally speaking, because it has been since yesterday, since I actually did manage to able to, well, gone back into this game, because today's day is of course the 2nd of January today, in this case in 2022, and then we figured I might as well able to do another Let's Play tomorrow, but that'll be for likely a super top secret somehow. So in this case, Bodo's going to be betting on 12 coins to able to do the Mike minigame challenge, and she's probably going to go for that particular some of these fruit cards again. So let's see if she managed to able to succeed again after the forms of the previous attempts. So because it's pretty obvious, because obviously she did that really dang well, and this time around she'll go for 4 cards. So, and unfortunately she got screwed over, so this means kiss your coins goodbye. So yeah, that might be something worth mentioning for that if you mess this up. Oh well, no big deal for her anyway, although I must admit that I've almost felt so sorry for her after that, you know, some losses or anything else to be more specific. So anyway, looks like Peach managed to toss her one of her orbs someplace, and yeah, that's something worth noting for. And I do apologize, there might be some awkwardness involved with the actual commentary, just because again my program keeps on lagging all the time, which that happens every single time whenever I decide to cut off some specific failed attempts or something like that, and that's probably because of how the fact that sometimes it does manage to mess me up. So, and it looks like Waluigi now places his final orb, and he managed to get additional coins too. So yeah, that seems good for him. So anyway, so it looks like that Waluigi just managed to able to land on the blue space for his last turn, so that seems totally obvious. And we'll end things off with a Mike minigame for the 3rd time anyway. So let's see what we play next then. Mathematicane or something like that. I can't really pronounce that name very well, I do apologize for that. Say a number into the mic to say to fire at that square. If you hit a boo, you earn points. And I believe that if you hit the regular pink boos, then you get a singular point. And then if you hit the pink boos with a crown on them, then you would able to get yourselves 3 points, if I say so. Yes. 1. 1. 1. 6. 8. 6. 7. 6. And 7. Yeah, I just have no words to say right for this point right here, but now we finished my turn, so let's see what Bodo's gonna do here. But again, I do apologize with the actual commentary. It gets a little bit awkward at the end because there's not much else I can talk about in terms of, well, not only for the Grand Canal board itself, but also of how Mario Party 7 plays out. I mean, surely there are a few times though, if I do some mic minigames, there are a few times that I can't keep up with the actual, like, saying things right or anything else to be more specific, but that's as far as I can try to describe it, so I do apologize for that, so. Alright, so it looks like Bodo got 7 points so far anyway, and it looks like Peach might able to get the same exact points as Bodo's, yep. So let's see how Waluigi's doing at the very end of that minigame. So, I guess we'll have to find out until now. So all we have to do is basically you have to say these kinds of numbers as were shown on screen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then depending on which specific pink boos or pink boos with crowns on them will be located, you have to say that specific number, and then you would able to hit some of these pink boos on screen. So that might be something worth noting for anyway. So there we go, that's pretty much about it for that minigame, and it looks like since we've pretty much finished all 20 turns in Grand Canal, so this means it's now the final results time. So just like previously, that Toad Swerve is gonna able to tell us how much stars we actually got throughout the board, and also how much coins we've gone through throughout the whole entire board. So in this case, I had a lot of coins here, 288. And of course, we get to the bonus stars, which like I said this earlier, that's all randomized this time. So in this case, we have ourselves 3 bonus stars, which we have the familiar 2 bonus stars, minigame star and the action star, but there's also a new one in the lineup, like I said earlier, is the running star. So yeah, let's start with the forms of the minigame star. Whoever gets that will be able to win most minigames, which is none other than me. So, which is kind of surprising because usually I did manage to win deck hands by very lucky, which usually because like in the forms of Mario Party 5 and 6, that the actual... Oh, what do we have here? Oh, me and Waluigi both got the happening action star. Okay, that's top notch. So anyways, with the battle minigames in mind, that battle minigames also counts as in a minigame star apparently, so that's something we'll have to watch out for. And Peach wins the running star, so yeah, I guess that makes it obvious. Although I was wrong about that earlier when I almost thought that Bodo might able to get the running star, but apparently Peach might be the only one got it, so that's fine I suppose. So, the winner of the first board in Mario Party 7, and that's what appears to be me. In this case, Toad. Good job on you, Toad. You're the claim to be the victorious when it comes to the very first board in the entire game. So, yeah, pretty swell, I have to say. So, anyway, so right from the bat though is the fact that much like the previous games, you see the detailed results on screen. And of course that if you press the R button, you can still see the graph and everything. So, yeah, look at that. 281 coins I've managed to get from the minigame star reward. Then, if the shopping star comes into play, I will definitely win, because obviously I spent 90 coins, and I believe Peach might guarantee to be able to get the orb star because she uses a lot of orbs. And as far as the running star is concerned, dang, look how close between Bodo and Peach right there. Like, Bodo was off by 16 running from Peach anyway, so yeah, I guess that makes it obvious there. I could have able to actually get the red star if that red star comes into play, because I'll land on most of these red spaces, as well as the character spaces, and yeah, me and Waluigi got pretty much landed on 3 of them. No dual spaces sadly, but we'll get to that during the next board. And as far as Mike's spaces, I think Bodo lands on it the most, and me and Waluigi are the only ones land on the DK space. And lastly, I believe Waluigi, he's the only one land on the Belzer space. So, yeah, I guess that might be self-explanatory if you're able to realizing about something like this. So, and yeah, that's pretty much about it. So, I guess suffice to say that we'll go ahead and end things off at this point right here. So, yeah, join me next time for more of Let's Play of Mario Party 7. That is the fact that we'll hit on to the forms of the second board of Mario Party 7, which does things a little bit differently, which I'll talk more about that next weekend. So I'll see you guys next weekend. So, yeah, later fellas.